Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Saturday Challenge, and today we have Chasing Mavericks. This is a 2012 movie. It's an hour and 56 minutes long. It is about surfing, as I guessed yesterday. It is about surfing. It stars Gerard Butler as a man named Frosty. Sure. He's a local surfing legend and just happens to be neighbors with a young man by the name of Jay, who's 9 years old, or 8 3/4. I'm not sure which. I can't remember exactly, but he's very young, and I'm not going to tell you the whole story, just so you're aware. But I'm going to tell you the setup. Kid Jay finds himself in a situation where he is about to. He falls into some rough waters on the coast in Santa Cruz, California, and Frosty just happens to be there to rescue him when he's out surfing. When he shouldn't be, probably. He's told his wife he probably wouldn't be surfing. She's got a brand new baby. Surfing there is dangerous, and Frosty's not the kind of guy who would just do some safe surfing. He wouldn't just do things just to relax a bit. No, he wants the big challenges. Well, through this, young Jay becomes friends with him and almost sees Frosty as a father figure because he's basically just lives alone with his mom, played by Elizabeth Shue, who I guess I should get used to the idea of the girls I had crushes on when I was a kid are playing mothers, older mothers. I guess my brain thinks that I'm constantly maybe 17 years old, but I'm not. I am not. And neither is Elizabeth Shue. But she looks fantastic. She's a woman who's just had a kind of a rough life, and her husband left her, and she's raising the boy on her own, and she's not always just having a good time. She's not really handling it well a lot of the time. And Jay finds a bit of stability in learning to surf, or at least tricking Frosty, or convincing Frosty that he should be taught. As he gets older, especially, Jay gets close with a friend of his named Kim, and her name's Kim, and she's played by Levin Rambin. Rambin, is that the word? Yeah, Rambin. They grow up together, and I can't say much more than that. Gerard Butler's wife, though, is played by Abigail Spencer, who she's been in a bunch of stuff I really loved over the years, and she's great in this as well. So what we have here is just a sort of a coming-of-age story set in the late 80s and early to mid-90s, and it is based on a true story. Jay Moriarty, people, if you know surfing, you probably know Jay Moriarty, especially California surfing. You gotta know Jay Moriarty. That might be a little bit of a spoiler as to how the story all works out in the end, sort of. So yeah, we get this very dramatic story, a little bit of humor here and there, but for the most part, the kid's dealing with bullies at times, or I don't know, see him as a threat, I guess. I don't know. They're also surfers, or they're just locals. I don't know. It's just, you think you're better than us? Okay. It's just, all kids get to deal with this stuff for some reason, and it seems to be the spine of just about every teenage coming-of-age movie, where the hero has to always be bullied. It creates a villain, and it creates a challenge, obviously. Whether he was bullied or not in real life, I don't know. And if he was bullied or not in real life, based on his surfing, I don't know. It's got a great soundtrack, especially in the '90s era. It just really hits with a lot of the music from the mid '90s or so. So yeah, this is a mid to late '90s. Yeah. So it's gonna, if you grew up in that era, yeah, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it when each of those needle drops hit. So what we get here, yeah, it's a sports movie, just, I mean, surfing is a sport. It's a challenging skill based endeavor here, and well, will he overcome the most treacherous, greatest waves? And it's a real thing. There's a thing called the Mavericks, or is it Mavericks is a specific beach. It's a surf break. It's mythic. It's unheard of. Only a few people know about it, and Frosty's one of them. And nobody who's even just like halfway good dares to take on these massive breaks, no matter how good you are as a surfer. Unless you're Jay, who gets Frosty to train him in the most, it's a Rocky kind of thing. You're not going to be fighting Apollo Creed or Mr. T or whatever, but it's still about building up endurance and fortitude and everything else just to go up against the greatest, most terrifying wave that you could possibly imagine there on the California coast. Does he do it? Can he do it? Will he survive? Well, I've sort of spoiled some of that. Sort of. So yeah, it's got a lot of it's very dramatic at times. Over, at least when it comes to the dialogue. Nothing against the writer. By the way, this is directed by Michael Apted and Curtis Hanson. But the writing, while it's good, it just seems a little, I don't know. Not to say anything bad about surfers either, but it just seems a little bit too highbrow. Am I getting? I don't know if that's the right word. I want to say it's very complex. Delivery of lines, some things, everything is very thoughtful and has. It's just so built. Nobody just is, hey, dude. Not that every, yeah, no, dude is. There's a lot of dude, but nobody in this is dude. I mean, Gerard Butler is. He's an English actor. He might be from Scotland or Ireland or something with the name Gerard. But yeah, he's from Scotland, and he does have a little bit of trouble fighting off that accent. He will push into a Boston accent to a slight degree in order to manage it. Because anytime you can do an American accent to cover for your UK, Scotland, Ireland, English accent, that's the best thing to do. You got to go Southern or you got to go Boston. You can't do Middle America for the most part unless you're doing Northern, Wisconsin, or yeah. So he struggles with his accent a little bit here and there, but in this, it feels like it would be the kind of movie where he would do that is just so regal and just, I don't know, more highbrow than a movie about surfing. I don't know. There's lots of just internal coming to terms with loss, coming to terms with with Jay. He grew up without a dad, and part of his big struggle is not having a father and not reading a letter that his dad gave him before he left. And yeah, it feels a lot more complex than it needs to be. Not minimizing the people involved in this in real life, but it strikes a little bit differently than you would expect for, I don't know, California. I'm in California, so if you're a surfer, if you like these kind of man versus nature, overcoming impossible odds kind of stories, you'll enjoy this a lot. Don't expect it to be the cliche kind of look at the surfer lifestyle kind of thing. It's a part of it, but it's more specifically, this is very character based. This is the kind of dialogue and interactions and emotional just outpouring that you would probably get from people trying to make a Oscar-nominated film. Not that this couldn't have been an Oscar-nominated film. I'm doing a lot of caveats here. I realize this, but it's still, yeah, they were pushing for the highbrow awards. Let's just say that. So yeah, you'll enjoy it. It's if it's not a bad film at all, and it's got a great cast. So definitely worth checking out. Stick around to the very, very end, of course. You'll get there's an appearance by Jay himself. So it's a kind of a neat and kind of important moment. And those of you who know who Jay is, you'll know why it is that important to see him at the end of the film. So let's pick tomorrow's episode. I just tapped it without pointing it. 68. 68 is... Come on. Okay. I don't know if this is a reality show or if it's a documentary. Again, most of the stuff we have on here are documentaries. I have less than 20 films left for this quarter. So we could literally go through every film if we wanted to. But the most we have of anything, which is about 80 out of the 150 things we have, more than half of the things we have to watch this quarter are in the reality and documentary category. But this one, I think, is a reality. I'm not sure. We'll find out when we watch Long Lost Family. All right. I'll see you back here tomorrow with whatever Long Lost Family is on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.